Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. Now, my last video was an unboxing of the Wahoo Elemnt Roam 3, and I've now used it, not that much, but I have used it a bit, so I thought I'd give you a quick update on my thoughts. Now, here is the Roam 3, and here is the original Roam that I had. I can't remember if this is the Roam 1 or the Roam 2, but I'm not sure for the purposes of this video it actually makes much difference. Now, if I put them side by side, this is the Roam 3, this is the Roam 2. Now, the Roam 2 looks bigger, I think you'll agree, but that's kind of optical illusion because actually the Roam 3 is slightly bigger. And I think the reason for that is on the Roam 3, which is this one, the screen fills more of the unit than it does on the Roam 2, which is this one, because you can see there are kind of black bars at the sides and the top and the bottom of the screen. But I still think, maybe an optical illusion, that the Roam 2 appears bigger than the Roam 3. That's point number one. On this, I have 4 data fields, and as you can see they are pretty big because my eyesight is not great. On the Roam 3 I have 5 data fields. I'm not quite sure how I can get 4 data fields. Well, I guess I kind of do the setup in the phone, but I can't be asked to do that. But as you can see, it's smaller than the Roam 2, and if I kind of play around with the size like there, it doesn't actually get bigger, which I kind of thought it would. So in that sense, if my eyesight is an issue for you, I don't see why my eyesight should be an issue for you, but you can see what I mean. I kind of preferred the original Roam 2. The next thing is, you go for a ride, and obviously you want to save it to Strava, and obviously you want it to automatically upload to Strava. My Roam 2 sometimes did this and it sometimes didn't, and that really kind of annoyed me. The Roam 3 also sometimes does it and it sometimes doesn't, and that kind of annoys me as well, because I would have thought it'd be fixed. It may be a problem at my end, but I don't know what the problem is. The other thing is, the first ride that I did, I finished the ride, I pressed stop, and that normally makes it either automatically upload to Strava or you may have to do it manually, but it does upload. It did not upload, and I could not get it to upload. I went on to Mr. Google, I went on to ChatGPT, I went on to Reddit. Other people had this problem. They said switch it off, turn it on again, unpair it, pair it again, do this, do that. And after a while, about, I don't know, 6 hours or something, it did finally work. But that should not happen, right? Why? Why do you pay £399 for a piece of technology that does not work properly, or does not work perfectly? Let's be more accurate. Now, the thing about an iPhone, and here's an iPhone. Now, okay, it doesn't always work 100%, but I think you'll agree that on the whole, the iPhone, it just works. And the Roam, in my experience so far, it doesn't just work, and I do find that a little bit irritating. In terms of battery life, well, I've only done a couple of short rides, so that's not really been an issue. I think the battery life is going to be fine. I'm not one of these people who rides for 18 hours anyway, so I'm not particularly bothered about it. I find some of the information on the screen a little bit smaller, a little bit harder to read. In terms of the unit itself, well, it's a decent weight. It's pretty much the same as the previous Roam. I don't have any problem there. It's saying here, as you can see, I don't know if you can read that, it's saying acquiring GPS. Well, why is it taking so long to acquire the GPS? Now, as you can see, the Roam 2, that's not making any silly messages about acquiring GPS like the Roam 3 is doing. So I don't quite understand what that's about. The other major difference you may have noticed is that the Roam 2 charges using the, well, I think it's called the micro USB, and the Roam 3 charges with the USB-C, which is now the universal charging system, so I suppose you've got to be happy about that. You will also notice, I don't know if you can see on the bottom, that here on the Roam 2 there is no holes, so you can't attach a lanyard to it, whereas on the Roam 3, as you can see here, there are a couple of tiny little holes there, so you can attach the included lanyard to it. So you can then tie that to your handlebars, so if it should fly off the mount, and it does make you wonder. They never thought the previous one would fly off the mount, so they never gave you a lanyard. But now they seem to think that the new one would fly off the mount, and therefore they give you a lanyard. What is it that they know that we do not know? There's a good question. Anyway, I'm probably not going to tie it to the handlebars in case it flies off, probably because I can't be asked. And then you've got all that hassle when you stop at the coffee shop. You've got to undo it from the lanyard. I know it's not a big hassle, but it's enough of a hassle. So, is it worth the upgrade? Well, there's an interesting question. I upgraded from the Roam 2. You can say, well, it looks all right to us, Julian. Well, I upgraded partly because it was starting to get this kind of issues around the side. I don't know what that is. I don't know whether it's moisture. I was starting to get a few issues with connection, not necessarily solved with the Roam 3. The Roam 2 mapping function, let me just go to that, is in color. There you can see, and it provides, I believe, spoken instructions. So for somebody like me, and I don't know if you saw one of my recent videos, I did a video about a gravel ride that I did, and I fell off. And the reason I fell off actually is I was looking down at the screen trying to check where the route was, and wasn't particularly looking where I was going, and I hit a bump and I came off, and you know, it was all hassle and flack. But with the sound enabled, and I may have the sound enabled and use the instructions, therefore that will be easier on this unit. It also appears to have, I don't know if I can find this, don't see it here at the moment actually, but on a previous screen my Spotify came up. So imagine that, you can cycle along listening to music and annoy the hell out of other road users, or as I'd particularly like to do, annoy the hell out of grandparents and dogs and young children who are trying to share the trail with you when you want to do a gravel ride without being annoyed by those kind of people and animals. And which are the people and which are the animals? There's a good question. So that is the Wahoo Roam 3. I wouldn't call it an in-depth review, but I hope it's given you at least some idea of my thoughts of the unit, and I'll keep this fairly brief. I've been Julian Hutchings. You've been watching my YouTube channel in case you weren't sure what you've been up to for the last 5 minutes or so. And if you want to subscribe, do consider subscribing. People always say that. And yeah, hope to see you next time. So thanks for watching. Take care.